So, sounds like we're getting a third hotel at the Pleasure Beach.
No! God, please, no! No!
How do I know this? Do we need one? Good question. So, there was a podcast by Michael Mack from the Mack family. It was released 19th, so 3 or 4 days ago, at the time of filming. I'll put a link down below. I'm not going to play it here because it's probably copyright issues, but I'll put a link in the description. But basically, he asks her, what is her proudest moment? And Amanda says that it is the hotels, working on the hotels, building the hotels, which, you know, fair enough. I've stayed in both the Big Blue and Boulevard. Big Blue's a nice hotel and Boulevard is a stunning hotel, probably the best one in Blackpool. She says that, she's like, oh, and there's a third one on the planning table. Do we need a third one? I mean, if you see some of the videos I've done lately, now, it's hitting the summer now, I believe things have picked up, but a lot of the trips I've had lately, the park has been very, 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 very quiet. So if you've not got enough people coming, why, a hotel's not going to bring you there. You've got 2 nice hotels already, so why are we getting a third one? Now, she said that she would like it to be near the casino building, not in the casino building, so I'm guessing either that's going to be on the main promenade where the arcades used to be or are, or it's going to be around at the car park. She also says that she needs to figure out funding for it, which is fair. I mean, if you look at the Boulevard Hotel, it was estimated to cost about 12 million. Now, we don't know whether this is going to be a high-end hotel, a kind of more budget one, somewhere in the middle. But for perspective, Icon cost 16 million. So effectively, we're probably looking at spending a roller coaster budget on another hotel. And I think that's kind of interesting because obviously the other thing that Amanda has alluded to, at the start of the season when she announced the closure of Grand Prix, she said they're planning a new attraction, which still has not been announced. Now, some people have said they've spotted multiple ride manufacturers in Blackpool in the last few months. I don't know which manufacturers that is. It does sound like Mack were one of them, because in that interview he does mention how when he was there a few weeks ago, such and such. So he's obviously been there this year. So maybe we're getting another Mack attraction. Who knows? As I say, there's supposedly other manufacturers that are in the mix. I think that in itself is kind of positive, because if you're getting, I mean, Mack do obviously do flat rides and they do dark rides.
You said doo-doo.
But they're more kind of known for their coasters. So hopefully amongst these manufacturers that she's been talking to, it is a coaster that is on the cards. And again, if you saw my most recent video when I was talking about River Caves, which is still closed, apparently waiting for parts, there's a whole area there. You've got FY4, you've got River Caves, you've got the hub, the old Wild Mouse, you've got the Bolodrome, you've got the old Black Hole, and then you've obviously got the Grand Prix side. So there's a massive, massive area for development, and I do genuinely hope that something really spectacular is coming to the park. So somebody on one of my videos commented that it feels like the park's in a transition period now, that they're kind of running a bunch of stuff down to then pump some money in. It's a very optimistic view, and I genuinely hope that is the case, because as I've said in numerous videos in the past, it's a park I grew up with, it's a park I care about, it's a park it hurts to see it in a bad state. But could they afford to do a massive new attraction and a hotel? Or is it a toss-up between the two? Is she going to want to put more money into a hotel and then cut back on an attraction? I mean, I don't think there's a need for a third hotel. I mean, I don't know how full the current hotels are. Obviously I'm not privy to that information. If you look at the finances that have been reported, the park has reported a loss of $500,000 last year, whereas Boulevard made a profit of more than that. So, I can understand why she's focusing on that, but at the same time, kind of focus on, fix the bits that are broken, rather than, if that money was invested into the park, I think it would make a massive difference. So, I don't mind an extra hotel as long as it doesn't sacrifice the development in the park. She did also make an interesting comment in that podcast that she's having some planning permission issues, and that she has to put in 60 trees in the park, and that for every tree she doesn't put in, there will be a fine, so she's getting taxed on trees. Interesting. Curious to see if we start seeing more trees in the park. So I'm really curious to hear your thoughts down below on this one, because as I say, a lot of you being very vocal in how you feel about the park and some of the decisions that you disagree with, some of the things you think they should do. None of you have said build a third hotel, so I don't think there's going to be a huge amount of support for this, but yeah, what's your thoughts? Like, are you like me that as long as it doesn't take money away from elsewhere, who cares? I mean, arguably, it will, right? Because even if they still can afford to put a coaster in and a hotel, well, they could have put a coaster in and spruced up some attractions, or, you know, that money could have still gone into the park rather than into hotel. So I'm kind of curious, but I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. Will we see a new coaster before a new hotel, or the other way around? In addition to that, there was only, I think it was last year in fact, the front along the promenade, there was some proposals to redevelop that into apartments. There was loads of markings on the pavement. I'm guessing that's fallen by the wayside. But yeah, I'd be curious. They've obviously changed to a resort, and at the moment it's not really a resort. I mean, they do occasionally have, like, you get park tickets included if you stay on certain nights in the boulevard. I mean, there kind of should be doesn't matter what night you stay, you should get tickets. And also, I've said in other videos before that the train that goes to the south entrance, like, you can get in the south entrance in the morning if you stay in those hotels, but then they close that after like half an hour or an hour. It makes no sense. And then the train only goes there at the end of the day. Like, in a way, that would make sense if she's proposing putting something at the other end, where the actual entrance to the park is, then arguably it would be the kind of hotel that you could go back to quite easily throughout the day. You know, oh, I need to go and pick something up, and, you know, in and out of the park. So that'd be interesting. But yeah, if you want a different view on this one, a slightly more positive one than mine, maybe take a look at Sean's on Lift Hills and Thrills, because he's got a very different take on this one. He definitely thinks this is a positive. But as I said, I would love to know what you think. Yeah, do we need a third hotel? Do we want a third hotel? I've been Chris, you've been watching Coaster Dad, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.